My name's Tony Cottrell. I am my colleague Mr. Alan Bly. I'm the author to my right here. He is here to answer any difficult questions that you might have today. So what we're going to do, we're going to start a quick slideshow which runs through some of the new stuff we brought out today, some of the stuff that's coming out over the next couple of months. Hopefully we'll have about 20 minutes at the end of that, if we get through it nice and quickly, for some questions. We'll try our very best to answer those. Well, certainly Alan will. If they're difficult, I will pass them straight on to him. And then there's obviously going to be a little bit of time for you to run back to the Forgeworld stand and buy those additional things that you've forgotten to purchase. And also perhaps take the opportunity to go to the White Dwarf stand and ask them when they're going to run a Horus heresy battle report. Jez Dickens, your man for that. He's very keen to do that, I'm sure. So if you all go straight to him after you've bought your final purchases and ask him about that battle report, I'm sure he'll get straight onto it, and we'll have that in a couple of months or so. But with no more ado, I've got Owen here who's going to press the buttons and try and make, because we don't have remote control, we're not quite in the 21st century here. So instead we have Owen, who's pretty reliable. And we're going to try and whiz through some of the latest releases and some of the stuff coming up. Okay, right, to begin with, let's press the first button. Here we go. There's a couple of Warhammer Forge models, though we're not neglecting Warhammer totally, but we've not got around to doing too much over the last year or so. But there's a couple of things. Firstly, we've got our giant river troll hag, this beautiful woman, and a particularly nice alternative to the dark elf witches, we believe. So much so, I believe she has been chosen to be the centre spread in next month's Playboy over the dark elf witches, so we can always look forward to that. And that's done by Trish Morrison, who has also done, in the middle of doing, the Lizardman Dreadsaurian, which is an enormous, great dinosaur, and she's brought out the Massacre, guys. Some stuff for Warhammer 40,000 specifically coming up. So what we've got coming, well, the next book we've got coming out is Imperial Armour Volume 2, which is our second edition of this. This has been completely rewritten. We can hit the buttons on these, get those titles coming up, there's three of them. So it's completely rewritten by Andy Hoare. It needed a rewrite for two reasons, one of which it's out of date on the rules, but also we've released a lot of Space Marine vehicles since the original book came out, so it's pretty much a new book, and it's got new rules in it, and it covers pretty well the whole of the Space Marine range as we have today. We've got some new stuff coming out, so it will go out of date, but we've caught up with most of the stuff. So it includes some of the earlier patterns of Predators and Land Raiders, Spartans in there as an option to have now, and also some of the less common stuff in 40k, which is like the Sakaran, which is now considered to be a relic, but there are still a few around. And also on top of that, there's quite a bit of extra sort of fluff background stuff, including there's a whole list of the notable battles for the Space Marines throughout the recent times of the 41st millennium. Also, specifically for 40k, is the Tower of Ravana heavy battle suit, which Darren Parwood has designed, and that's out today. And I don't know if we've got it. Pardon? Yeah, and so we might have some left if you haven't picked up 3 or 4 already. Just they come in sixes, by the way, and only can be deployed as such. So let's get too sales orientated. Let's move on to the Horus heresy. And we've got lots of new stuff for the Horus heresy coming up and just out today. So we're going to go through some of that. Firstly, we've got the Massacre book. Who's bought that today? Who's had a chance to flick through it? Okay, that's good. The next bit will bore you because you'll have already seen most of the pictures. But there are, I think there were 6 people that don't appear to have bought it. I'm not sure why they're here, but I'm sure they'll be rushing back to go and purchase that straight away afterwards on their way to the White Dwarf stand to talk to Jez Bickham about battle reports. But what's in the book for those 6 people that didn't buy it? Thank you everybody else that did. I hope you enjoy it. It's part 2 of the first trilogy. A trilogy is 3 books, and this is the second of them. And it It covers the first part of the Battle of Isfahan 5, which is the drop site massacre, which is a very famous battle. It's a very large battle featuring 7 Space Marine legions. No, it's more than 7. No, it's 11.
Yeah, it's quite a few.
It's quite a few. There's a lot of them. There's Titans and stuff. There's Mechanicum and there's... Yes, it's robots. There's everything there. Why would you not want to play that? We've introduced some new legions at this time, which are the Iron Hands and the Salamanders, some good guys, the Word Bearers and Night Lords who are not good, even though they're pretending to be good initially. And what else have we got to add in? We have some other new forces, some extra Mechanicum units, and there's some Titan legions there, both traitor and loyalist. Return also of some extra background, some additional rules and some additional units and characters for the Emperor's Children, World Eaters, Death Guard and Sons of Horus. So there's some add-ons for the armies in the book as well. And it covers the story, basically, for the first part of the battle. The history of 4 new legions, those 4 legions which we just stated, you get the background and history on them, and the rules for those 4 legions, including special units, characters, and not forgetting the primarchs. And there are also some rules on the new Mechanicum units. Scenarios and campaign system as well, as we did in the previous book. So let's just have a look at a few for the benefit of the 6 people that haven't bought the book. Let's have a look at a few of the pictures within there. We'll just whisk through these Iron Hands. And more Iron Hands. And we'll get some more Iron Hands. And Night Lords. More Night Lords. We'll just keep whisking through those. And it was an opportunity to revisit all these legions and really try and make them a little bit more special than they were before, and try and make them distinctive from each other. So we've got up to 8 legions now with the 2 books, and they all should have their own flavour and own look. So the Salamanders, we've spruced up their fire a little bit. It's a little bit more menacing now. It's a bit comic book before. So, sort of typifying where they came from. And also the Mechanicum, bringing in some special units for them now. So, has anybody now convinced they should go and buy the book? That hasn't bought it? Anybody? Oh, there's 1 person. Oh, 2, 3, 4. Excellent, jolly good. We can move on then. That's good. Otherwise we'd have to go through that another time until those people were convinced. So there's only 2 people in the room, I think, now that haven't bought the book or intend to on their way back to the White Dwarf stand to talk to them about battle reports. New models. We've got some new models out today. Oh, and we gone back to that's Iron Hands, Relic Contemptor Dreadnought, done by Israel, one of our new sculptors from Spain. The Emperor's Children, Phoenix Terminators, some of the nicest Terminator models, I think. These done by Keith Robertson, his first time doing Terminators, so we've let him do some more after that. Cacophony Marines by Steve Whitehead, which is the precursor to the sort of Noise Marines of the Emperor's Children. And the Ashen Circle Destroyer Marines, again by Steve Whitehead. He's done a great job on those, getting some real character into what the Word Bearers special units look like. We've also, Phil Strasinskas has done us a Legion Vindicator, which is the older pattern Rhino hull and a different look to the Vindicator, and that we've had a few of those here today for sale as well. You can't buy that anymore because we had some, but they all sold. Spy Raptor, which is well cool because you can put different guns on it. You can have auto cannons or heavy bolters. You can open the little hatches, and there's little Space Marines sitting there. And looking, I think the Space Marines are smiling, but you can't tell because they've got helmets on. But you know, if you were sat in a turret like that with all those guns, yeah, you kind of grin a bit. Also out today, Erebus and Corferon. These were done by Edgar, and some more of our Horus Heresy character series. So great models there, really depicting some of the non-Primarch characters. But onto Primarchs themselves, we have the infamous Ferrus Manus. Who's bought a Ferrus Manus? Similar number of people. Okay. Who's bought Erebus and Corferon? It's the same people, isn't it? Who's getting divorced next week? Okay. Fine. Good. Okay, that's good. That's good. Not that you get divorced is good, but it's just good for us. It's not good for you. But, and we've got some newer stuff coming out. Legion Sakaran Venator, which is a version of the Sakaran, which we brought out, I think, last month. This is again done by Phil Stratinskas, and this will be out in 2 or 3 months' time. And Phil's got the first pre-production copies there for you to look at today. Mechanicum Thralls, Mark Bedford's working on. This is just a torso, they do come with legs. And at the moment, that's as far as we've got it, and the weapon's not finished yet. But these are sort of compatible, I think, with the Imperial Guard plastics as well. But there will be, I think they're probably going to be whole resin figures, but we will probably split them at the waist and stuff. So there'll be a range of those coming out. And then the Mechanicum Myrmidons, just a couple of examples. I think Mark's got about 5 or 6 of them here, and we need to do a little bit more work on these before we send them off for production, and we need to decide what weapons go in what packs and all that sort of thing. But these are very big figures, they're bigger than Terminators, they kind of almost dwarf Terminators, very big, powerful, heavy units for the Mechanicum. Legion Basilisk, this has got a little bit of work still to do, done by Blake Spence, and even in the back you've got a couple of Marines in there. They're having a cup of tea in the back there, I think. I just state they're not really having a cup of tea, so if you get a model without teacups and a teapot, it's not wrong, that was a joke. They've got shells and stuff, I think. This is still, perhaps got a couple of tweaks to it, but it's pretty well finished. This is modelled by Stuart Williamson, which is Mark IIB Land Raider Achilles. And Will Hayes is Legion Charybdis Assault Claw. We showed this at a show earlier in the year, but Will was still working on it at that time. It's pretty well finished now, so we've got all the missile launchers on it. And it can do really 2 things. It can work like a drop pod, or it can clamp into the side of things like spaceships, and we've got one clamped into a side of a spaceship on one of our dioramas. But it's not just the drop pod, it does have weaponry on it as well, as you can see in the missile launchers and stuff. So it's a sort of offensive weapon that does lots of things. So don't think of it like just as a drop pod, it's a little bit more than that. Iron Hands Legion, Medusan Immortals, those will be out in 2 or 3 months. Breacher Squad there, which is done by Israel again. Nice combination of Iron Hands, normal Marines, but also with robotic bits and stuff on them as well. Death Guard Legion, these are just about finished. Keith Robertson's done these. He's got to finish the heads. They're just standard heads in at the moment. But I think he's brought them with him. It's his second lot of Terminators, and they're fantastic figures. Just 3 there, but there is a full squad of 5. And they'll be out 3 months' time, something like that. And these are fabulous. These are Steve Whitehead's Night Raptors Assault Marines. And Steve's really spent a lot of time trying to get into how we think the Night Raptors should look. So we want them to look menacing, because they were never nice guys. They're the Night Lords. But still really look as though they were Marine armour. So he's done these sort of faceplate masks over the armour and really adorned them with bits of other people, which is quite a nice feature, really, I think. They will be out probably 3 months, something like that. And then we've got Lorgar, Primarch of the Wordbearers, which Edgar's done. It's his first Primarch. It's a fantastic figure portraying Lorgar. And the rules are in the book that everybody's got, well, apart from 2 people will have before the end of the day. That's Edgar's first Primarch, which is a great figure, and he does have that with him today. I think Mark Bedford's got a painted one, which he painted last night when he should have been asleep. So if he's looking tired, he was painting Lorgar. And then we've got Primarch number 5, which I can't tell you what, this isn't here today. We didn't bring him, but I did sneak a quick picture, otherwise we'd have nothing really exciting to show you that you haven't seen. And he's not finished, he's got a standing head at the moment, but and I can't tell you who he is, but you might be able to get it. Actually, before we do that, who thinks it's going to be Comrade Kurz? Who thinks it's going to be Mortarion? Anybody for Horus? Oh, you can't have your hand up all the time. That's just cheating. Horus, yeah, okay. What else are we missing? Which one's... Vulcan, yeah. Clearly not him, because I've forgotten him, wasn't it? It's a bit dumb if you voted for that one. I couldn't even remember. It's not that, unless I got it wrong. Well, let's see which one it is. Now, who's going to flick it up really quickly? So, if you've got a camera, I'll just stand in front. And he'll be up quickly. He's not finished. Simon Egan's working on him. Here he is. Right, there we are. He's gone. Anyway, so we obviously that's got a little bit of work to do, yeah. So it's going to be early next year, but it's the one with the dog on his head. Okay, well, one of the ones. There's a couple with dogs, isn't there? Very popular feature of primarchs, dogs, aren't they? Stick a dog on your head. That'll look good. Let us move on to Extermination, a Natalie titled third book in the Horus Heresy series, which we're currently about. In the first seminar I said we're about halfway through it. I looked to Alan and he went, well, we're probably about third actually. He's got some words. We've got some words, haven't we? No, we've got some pictures.
They may not be the right words in the right order, but
no. This is the last part of the third trilogy, which makes it the third book. And it is part 2 of the Battle of Isfahan 5. Which is a lot of the slaughtering and battles that happened after the drop site massacre. It also covers the Battle of Fal. Who's heard of the Battle of Fal? Oh, you're a lot better than the previous lot I had here earlier. I don't know, they think you didn't come to a timeshare thing by mistake. But that's good. So, actually, it's probably because you've read some books today since you got here. No. And it also contains the first part of the Battle of Paramar. Who knows about Paramar? I was only one person last time. So the Battle of Paramar. If you search back in the Google Paramar, it exists. So it's the first part of the Battle of Paramar. It's not been covered in any of the novels so far, but it's a series of battles on a planet. And I'm not going to tell you any more at the moment. You go and have a look when you go and have a look on Google. It won't tell you that much, but it might tell you some bits. And that's going to be featured in the book as well. New legions. In this book you get the Raven Guard, Iron Warriors and Alpha Legion, which are the 3 from Isfahan 5 that we haven't covered, and also the Imperial Fists, because they are in the Battle of Fal with Pollux and his gang. But it will be a complete list of a lot of the major unit types and stuff for the Imperial. We won't be just mean and say you just get the boarding guys and some dreadnoughts and some Terminators. So you will get the Primarchs. Primarch, and you will get Sigismund and possibly some other character or something, I think, as well. So we can ask Alan about that later. But it will be a workable Imperial Fists army list, not just the boarding action one. So we're going to have a look at some of the pictures from this book, Iron Warriors Legion. It's that clicky camera, it's making loads of noise. It's your phone. You'll ruin it for yourself, this book, when it comes out. You'll just be able to look at your phone. There's Raven Guard. Imperial Fists. And also there's a couple of Titan Legions. The War Griffins and the Return of the Tiger Eyes, who've not been around for many a long time. And actually, I had to ask somebody who was in the set. I said, I think I did those originally, and they said, yes, I did, which was nice, because they clearly remember my life more than I do, which has probably got something to do with my age, really. But Tiger Eyes do return, and because they fight on Paramar, which you're all going to look up on Google as soon as you leave, aren't you? Probably some guy at the back doing it already. So what's after that? Well, after that we've got our next trilogy, which is 3 books. First book is going to be Prospero. So in that we will have Thousand Suns, Space Wolves, Custodians, Sisters Silence. And we're off to B&Q to go and buy some big plastic frosted sheets to make some giant pyramids. So it's going to be great fun. We're going to make these big pyramids. And then we're moving on to Cygnus and Sarum. Is Sarum? Yeah. Which is, so we'll cover in that, obviously in Cygnus we've got Blood Angels and Demons, and then Mechanicum, Dark Mechanicum and Dark Angels on Sarum. And then we're off to Calth, which is the bringing in of the Ultramarines, and we'll probably also cover some of the Imperial Army stuff on that as well. So, and obviously the Word Bearers. And that draws us to a close to the first part of our seminar today. The next bit you have to interact a little bit with, because it's our question time. If people would like to ask questions, just ask them to raise their hand. I'll try and pick you out by your colour shirt or your hairstyle or something like that, so you know it's you. When you're asking a question, I just ask everybody to speak up as loudly as you can so everybody can hear it. I've got the advantage of a microphone, so you can have to speak really loud, and then everybody can hear the question. Therefore, otherwise all they hear is something really quiet and me saying no. That just gets a bit boring. So if we can do that, so do we have any questions, please? Gentleman at the front here.
On the Horus Heresy Weekender, you showed pictures of the unit, the Gorgon terminators coming out. Do you know, are they going to be looking as they were looking at in the time with chainmail from the Cataphractii, or is there anything confirmed?
Yeah, we haven't done we haven't done the models of the Gorgon Terminators yet, but they will look similar to that. We like the chainmail idea and stuff like that, but we might develop them a little bit more before we bring out a squad of them. Yeah, but they're on our list to do. I have a big board in my office. Shouldn't tell you that because you'll all sneak and look at it. There'll be ladders up against the window and stuff, but on this big board it has all the things that we're meant to be doing on there. And then Owen and I sit down every week and go, well, I haven't got that done on time. Push that back. But the Gorgon Terminators are firmly on the board. In fact, I'll just say whether they're on the board or not if people ask me stuff coming out. It's on the board, not on the board, okay? Or should be on that. They're not on the board. The squats aren't on the board until I go on holiday, and then somebody uses my office and thinks it's really funny to write squats on it. That happens every time I go on holiday. I come back and go, oh yeah, written squats on the board. And I keep saying, can you not write squats? So I went away last time and they wrote fishmen. Thanks. Yeah. If I ever die on holiday, they're going to get made.
Don't tempt them.
I was going to say, let's hope I don't die. All right. Any more questions? The gentleman in the black shirt and jacket thing there. Yeah. Sorry, successor chapters. Of the successors or the legions. It's possible we will. When we get round to doing, we've got some more 40k books we'd like to do, which are set in the 41st millennium or sometime between then and the Horus Heresy. We will probably do, every time we do that, we try and do something for it. So we've done some stuff for the Red Scorpions, the Minotaurs, things like that. And we will carry on doing that when we look at a new chapter. There's kind of a limit on how many chapters we think we can cover, but occasionally bringing a new one in, I think, is fine. But we're not going to do vast amounts. I can't promise you there's going to be loads. There's enough to do with all the legions, to be honest. I'm going to have a gentleman here in a grey shirt.
Are you ever going to give any love to the Dark Elder?
Love to the Dark Eldar. Is that personally? I'd be a little bit scared, actually. I don't think we can move on from that, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're just going to have to end there. We would like to do a Dark Eldar book, and it is currently not quite on the board, but it's not far off the right-hand side, and that's quite good news, hopefully. Okay. Gentleman here, long hair, glasses, nice beard.
Thank you. Is concerns with the Titanicus, will the Fire Wasp Legion be turning up at any point in the future? And also, are any other sort of variants or Titanicus war engines could be turning up.
I don't want this to be a precedent. That was 2 questions there, and but Alan's going to have to deal with those, I
I was
think.
dividing them between them.
In terms of including the Legio Titanicus, different orders of that in the books, it is something we're trying to do as we go along, is include a bit of Titan background. It's not covered to the same extent that the legions are, the Space Marine legions, but what we have been doing, because it just adds a nice bit of context and some extra detail, is put some background in. And yeah, that's been an interesting thing to do, because again, we've got in Massacre there's a Legio Horus, who are the 5 rounds, who again are one from back in the very old days. Extermination will have 2, as you've seen. It's got Gryphonicus and Furians, Tiger Eyes. Legio Ignatum, it was Fire Wasps you're asking about. They are one of the biggest primary scale legions, Legio, so it's almost inevitable we'll hit them at some point. There may in fact be, I can't remember now if they're on Prospero or not. I can't remember what the Titan Legion was off the top of my head. But yes, I've name dropped lots of random stuff to do with other kind of divisions and stuff to do with Titans. And I know we'd love to do a Warlord at some point. So, but that's a lot of work, as Tony will tell you.
I'd just like to tell you it's a lot of work doing a Warlord Titan, and I know that I know that 6 of you are now disappointed because that was your question. But we'll come until we will do a Warlord Titan before somebody asks. But it's going to take a little bit of a while to do. Okay, right. Next one. I'm going to go gentleman in black shirt here.
When's Korax coming out?
When is Korax coming out? He's going to come out fairly soon, but it's probably not in the next 6 months. It's going to be a little bit longer than that because he's in the 3rd book. And the next question is he going to have his flight pack, isn't it? So yeah, probably 12 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. Depends how quickly we get through the other ones that we need to do first. But we'll do all the primarchs. We really will. Gentleman with a stripy shirt.
How many stocks are you going to be putting onto the primarchs now? Because now you've got 2, I believe.
Yeah.
Is there going to be more to speed it up, or are you going to just love it go along?
I think we have to see how we go. It was right to get Edgar to do it because he'd done the previous word bearers, so that kind of fit quite nicely with doing Lorgar. Simon Egan's did the other 3 that we have, and he's doing the 4th one now. We've got some options with using some of the other designers as well, and we'll see how we go. But actually, what we did, there's 18 primarchs, and there's the Emperor, and then there's what's we call it from the Custodes, and there's some other notable people, there's some other notable characters, but there's also some other variants to do with the primarchs. So, it's quite a long project. So I think we'd like to probably do 3 or 4 primarchs a year, something like that. So we'll see how we go. But we'll see who gets to do them. The man in the green.
How quickly are you going to get through the new books release schedule?
Which books? The Horus Heresy books? The Horus Heresy books. We'd like to do 2 a year, but that's quite a lot of work. At the moment, we're kind of we've done with the first one took a year, the second one took nearly a year, but we did some other stuff in between. I think we expect to see book 3 in about Easter next year. Let's see how we do with that. And then it's possible that we can get Prospero out before the what's called Inferno, isn't it? Inferno.
Yeah, Inferno.
Inferno. Which will might come out before Christmas next year, but we're quite a long way off. We haven't even been to B&Q to get all the glass to make the pyramids yet. Then somebody's going to drop it, and then it's smash, and we'll have to start again. You know how it is. Right. I'm going to go with the guy with the multicoloured t-shirt. That's you, sir. Yes, looking at t-shirt. Yes. We always recommend that you talk to Mark Bedford about Brand Redmore. He's still here. It might come out sometime, but have a word with Mark, because it's really funny to do that, because he came up to me before and he says, who's telling everybody to come and talk to me about Brand Redmore? And I said, that's me. And he went, oh. So if everybody on their way back from the Forgeworld sales stand going via White Dwarf to talk about battle reports, then goes to see Mark Bedford and asks him when Bram Redmore's coming out, that'd be brilliant. That would make my day. Gentlemen, just about to see you in the camouflage jacket there, blending in quite nicely with the blue suits.
Mark Bedford, and he says he wasn't happy with them all.
He wasn't, no, we weren't happy with Mark Bedford not being happy. So we have to revisit it when we've got some time, is the real answer. So, but that doesn't stop you going to see Mark. It's quite, yeah, well, no, you don't have to if you talk to him already, unless you want to. He'll be here all day, gets lonely late on. You can help him pack up, he'll appreciate that. I'm going to go in the green at the front.
Yeah, you said book 6 is going to be cut off. Where to from there? Where's it?
Ooh.
How am I going to go?
That's an interesting question, and not one that was asked in the first seminar. They were satisfied with all the stuff I showed you. They thought, brilliant, there's loads of great stuff. That's what they thought. Fantastic, I'm into this, I'm going to run with it. There's models, there's fantastic models, there's loads of that. He's just shown us another 4 books that aren't out. We don't get that sort of thing from Games Workshop, was what they were all thinking, but no, you want even more than that. The best way to answer this is, I did a timeline which, if anybody went to the Horus Heresy weekend, I kind of showed a little bit. And what it is if you get to about the Battle of Calth, I think we're about quarter way through the number of battles, at most 20% for Horus Heresy, at most. And that doesn't mean there isn't some we've missed in the timeline. There's a lot of stuff here, and what we did is Alan did quite a bit of work with his guys, Neil and Andy, and he came up with all the battles in the Horus Heresy that we know about. These are just the ones we'd already know about, and there was about, I can't remember now, there's about 30 books worth or something, so there's quite a lot. Yeah. Alan?
Yeah, there's loads and loads and loads of stuff.
Yeah.
I will have no fingers left, frankly, after the typing. And yeah, we also had a chat to Black Library and Black Library authors and that team as well, saw where they were going and discussed stuff that they just wouldn't be covering as novels, because they didn't necessarily make a good plot for a novel, but makes a damn good plot for an Imperial Armour book about mass warfare. So frankly, on that list, there's a lot of things you've heard of, and you could probably put names to, like Talon, and there's a lot on there as well that is either lesser known or tucked away or will get expanded, like the eventual disintegration of Anvilus, because it swaps hands so many times, to the point where the planetary system falls to little itty-bitty pieces. That's literally 2 on what must be something like 60 or 70 entries on that timeline.
So there's plenty more, so it's worth hanging on in there and buying them all. And dedicating that room in your house. That's what you need to do. If you don't think you've got space, plenty of time to think about a move. Looking for, the Horus Heresy room. That's good.
Are we going with the reinforced furniture range that we were eventually?
Yeah, there is. The bookshelves, we'll be recommending a bookshelf supplier that you can put 30 Horus Heresy books on, and it won't collapse. But we do recommend that is situated on a ground floor level for obvious reasons. It can be quite dangerous otherwise. But yes, plenty of stuff still to buy, we hope. So that'll be coming along over the next lifetime. Good. Another gentleman here.
Real long shot here. Are there any plans for Lord of the Rings or Hobbit pictures?
I've never heard of them. Is that a popular franchise? Hobbit rings about Horus, Hobbit. Prefer Horus, to be honest. I think it's more mileage in it. I believe they're written by J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote, I think 4 books or something, and then there's some other ones that people found under his bed when he died. But so pales into significance compared to Mr. Alan Bligh, who is fully intending before he dies to write a range of 30 Horus Heresy books. You never know, you might get a statue and a film one day. But are we going to, seriously though, back to Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, We do these. I don't want to bore you with all the ins and outs of how licenses and stuff go, but you have a license for a period of time, and we have a license for a period of time. And we have to renew that, and you have to pay royalties on it, and you have to do stuff like that. That doesn't kind of sit terribly well